how did you get to where you are today? What would you say are some of the top skills to be a leader? How would you describe Agoda's culture in 3 words? If you can change something about that journey, is there anything that you would change? Hey guys, it's James back with another video. Now, a lot of you seem to have enjoyed my day in the life as a market manager video here in Agoda. So, obviously I want to be in a people leader position one day. So today I figured that I would interview all the leaders that I know here in Agoda to see how they got to where they are today, what made them who they are, and if they can give me any advice so that I can be a people leader myself one day as well. So, got my trusty mic with me. Let's go.
So I'm Glenn, I'm an Associate Director for PS Thailand team.
Hi everyone, I'm Jay. I'm the area manager looking after the Bangkok market.
My name is Kunchada. I'm now a business development lead for Agoda Best Network.
My name is Kulintitwadi Natanya Sok. I'm currently the Associate Director.
My name is Mahesh Kumar. At Agoda, I work in partner services, or should I say now, one supply.
So I'm here with Mandarin.
I am an area manager taking care of Bangkok.
I'm here with Liana. So hi Liana. Can you introduce yourself and tell us what you do here at Agoda?
By all means, thank you so much for that banana. Hi everyone, I'm Liana. I'm the VP for Partner Services here at Agoda.
Okay, so Glenn, how did you get to where you are today?
Well, it was a perilous journey, to say the least. So I actually started off in startups in my days in Myanmar. So I started with Rocket Internet, spent about a year there, and then I branched off on my own to found a company called Grab Jobs. The name sounds very familiar because we were actually sort of a joint venture with Grab back in the day. And after a few months, we decided to venture on our own, and it was basically mainly with mobile recruitments. After that, we got kind of bored. And I decided to explore something else, and somebody came knocking on my LinkedIn profile, and it was a recruiter from Agoda, and I decided to give it a shot because I was always very close to the hospitality industry anyways, because during my university days I actually worked as a bartender back in Singapore, one of the hotels as well, so I kind of had a connection there, decided to give it a shot, and here I am today at Agoda.
So I started my career here at Agoda back in 2014 as a market executive, and then I always keep developing myself to be ready on to the next step. Then I got an opportunity to become assistant market manager, and to be market manager, and then senior market manager, and then to where I am now today as a area manager.
I joined Agoda a few years back as a market manager, and then I was looking for more challenges, so I communicated this with my managers and then given the opportunity. So I took it and tried it. After I proved to Agoda and my manager that I can perform in this role, I finally got promoted.
Okay, so actually Agoda is my very first and permanent job. So I started my career 16 years ago, joining Agoda as the market executive, taking care of the Hong Kong and Macau markets. And then I started to move to join Bangkok Thailand team, growing from the assistant market manager to market manager, and at the end, the team leader roles. And later on, I got a chance to relocate to Japan, at first for 6 months, to share some of the learning and best practice there. And later on, I got asked to extend my contract to 2 years. So I spent 2 years in Japan, and I learned a lot from the team there as well. Later, when I back to the HQ in Bangkok, I start to in charge of the Indo-China market as a regional manager before I moved to lead the very first official partner program teams for Thailand and Indochina. That's where my footstep back to the Thailand team again. And then I got promoted to Associate Director in 2019 and continue to drive the Thailand team until now.
I started off as an analyst in one of the firms in Bangalore. Worked for 2 years, built up all the analytics knowledge that I needed in terms of statistics, in terms of tools, in terms of coding and whatnot. I wanted to be a little more challenging, so I moved into a startup, started working for a startup. Through the startup, I was able to travel because the clients were in Europe, were in the US, so got to travel around startup world, Silicon Valley. And good part was the startup got acquired as well, so I was lucky enough to undergo an acquisition and joined a very big firm called Lowe's. And last year I decided to take a break, so I went and did my MBA in Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. And now I'm here in Agoda. It's been like 4 months. It's been a good journey.
My first job was at Agoda, and actually I was around. I didn't know myself first of what I want to do, and then I went to study, come back to OTA. and that's why I'm here. So I'm all the way OTA.
Wow. So fresh out of graduation, you were Agoda.
Yes.
Wow. And then left to study for a bit, went back to
With OTA again.
OTA all the way.
Yeah, all OTA all the way. Startup, like which different types of OTA, and then yes, I'm here again back in Agoda.
I see. And how did you sort of get into that managerial position?
Well, actually, I started working as like admin, so pretty much from the bottom up. So I started working as an admin, then I move up to AMM, market manager, senior market manager, and now I'm here as area manager. So I go out like throughout the process pretty much.
Started from the bottom.
Yeah.
The journey is you sleep a lot less, you work a lot more. No, I'm kidding. So I think my background is a little bit interesting. I started in management consultant. I was a consultant with Boston Consulting Group a few years ago. So I don't have a tech background, I don't have an e-commerce background, but I had a travel industry background. So I went from consulting over then to airlines. I worked with a company called Jetstar, and then from Jetstar I moved over to Agoda. I started in a department called Strategic Partnerships now. Back in the day it was called Partner Marketing. So that department looks after all our non-hotel partners. I stayed there for about 4 years, and right at the time of COVID, I switched over to the supply side. So when I came over to Partner Services, I started with a team that I called Socrates, which is really the analytics and strategy team. And then from there, built up a few other teams like the Bits Network team, and then took on a few markets, and then eventually heading up Partner Services. And then now with our internal reorganization between Partner Services and Partner Development, I look after the central operations teams as well.
So if you can change one thing about that journey, what would you change and why?
I think I would have kept an even more open mind. I think one of the things that was a lack of opportunity was, sometimes we always think we know better, right? Instead of listening, being more open, trying out more things, and also taking more risks. I think that was something that I was not willing to do so much of back in the day, and maybe I could have learned a lot more as a result of that.
During the first 2 or 3 years, I was, pretty shy and kind of like always in the background. So like if I can go back in time and change something, I wish I would be more, speak up and give more of my opinions or ideas, because that way I can learn from others and, others can learn from me as well.
So throughout my journey, of course, there's up and down. And if I could change, I would probably focus more on the positive side of any situations and just ignore the negative.
I would be a bit less strict to myself, I guess. I think I'm a bit too tight sometimes. So then I think maybe a bit more flexible at the beginning of the career would be pretty good too.
Probably not. I think the one thing that was very, very painful, if I'm being super honest, was COVID. And I think switching careers or switching departments just at the time of COVID was not something I would recommend in general. Learning something new like margin points as an entire system when you're learning from home was quite difficult. So probably if you're, like, my only advice is if you're gonna make a change, don't do it during a global pandemic. But that being said, I guess it's a little harder to know.
What would you be if you weren't in your current position today?
I think I probably would pursue my education overseas, because it's always one of my goals to continue my master and to live abroad as well.
Probably run my own business, because I like, trying new things, and I really do have one idea that I haven't, tried yet, but maybe if I'm not here. No, I can't tell you. Yeah, but probably, the short answer is probably running my own business.
I think I may work in the field where I graduated from, which is the advertising and media agency, because that's where I did the internship. I also enjoy that. Or I think I might end up in other international tech companies, because I really like the vibe where you can speak up around, where you can share your opinion and also grow from your real performance. And the fast-moving vibe, I really enjoy that.
Worked in a startup, worked in big firms, but I don't think I've done one thing which I've always wanted to do, is maybe have your own company and work. So a project of your own. It could be on the side, it could be mainstream, it could be whatever it is, but hopefully at some point in my life.
I'd probably be somewhere in the same industry, at the same position pretty much. So yeah, it's an industry I love. So.
OTA for life.
Yes, OTA for life.
Oh my god, if I wasn't in my position today, I'd be asleep. I think it's one of those things that, sometimes you look back and you're like, oh, what could I have been? If you asked the 12-year-old me, I would be a prima ballerina. If you asked the me that was right before college or around the time of college, I've always wanted to be a criminal lawyer. That would have been interesting, maybe less stressful than supply, I don't know. But in all honesty, I wouldn't exchange it for anything else, I would say. It's been quite an amazing journey being here, and I have learned so much more than I have ever learned anywhere else. So I think I wouldn't change a thing.
What is the best and worst part of your current role?
I would say the best part is really about the people that we work with. I treasure the team a lot. I learn so much from them every single day. They give me the insight that I need to really try to drive projects and operations on the ground, right? So that to me is so valuable. Well, if you ask me about the worst thing, I think the worst thing is not having enough time really to be with the team, because we're so involved with pitch decks, with meetings internally, externally every day, that I don't get sufficient time with the people that really drive Agoda, drive our hotels. And that's something, hopefully I'll be able to do a little bit more of this year.
I think the best part of my role is to always, working with intelligent people, nice and fun people. So that is the best part that I'm looking forward to every day. As for the worst part, I wouldn't say it's for my role per se, but working in such a big corporate company, sometimes you would wish that you would have more control over things that involve you and your team.
The best part was when my team achieved the goal, and then I communicated, I recognized it and communicate with the team. Everyone's like super happy. And then the next day, we got even better results. The worst part is throughout my journey, before I got promoted, I had accounts that I have to manage. At the same time, also managing a big team. So it's like doing two things at a time and need to, make the team perform. So for two roles within one person, it's really hard to manage.
So in terms of the best part, I think it's the impact that it's creating. So it's an instant impact. So I work with market managers largely. The work for every market manager, James, I don't think I need to tell you about it, but it's on the spot. Everything happens day to day. Everything impactful, because the large part of Agoda is your hotels and partners, and market managers are the front facing. They're the ones who work with them. So I know that whatever I do supporting them is right on top, and it happens immediately. So it's impactful. And the second main thing is the people you work with, are people from all parts of the world doing all kinds of things. So that's the best part about it. Now, what could be the thing that I'm not very fond of is, I wouldn't say stressful, but it's always firefighting. So there's a lot of things to be done, 10 different things at the same time, but that's what makes it exciting as well. But it can get into you at some point. So you need to take a step back and maybe, as people say, breathe and then start again.
I'm a very quiet person, so being a manager, you need to be able to communicate, and sometimes you need to talk a lot. So that, I think, not really the worst part, but it's not the part that I'm good at. The good part is that you will get to learn from lots of people. Like, you get to learn from your team. Not only your team, you will get to learn from other team and also the people above you. So I think that's really good.
This is both the best and the worst part of the role. I've been here 8 years. I've never been bored. Never been bored a day in my life. And supply is a place where you come up with new challenges and new opportunities every single day. So it's fun, but it's tough. So I would say best and worst part of the job. The fact that we keep finding different things or different ways to do things better and different ways to grow. So I think that'll be quite good.
All right, so Glenn, what's the best advice that you've ever received?
So this was back in my days when I was working as a part-time bartender, finding my way through college. So the advice that I got was always listen more than speak. And a lot of people might say, well, this is a extroverted-driven kind of world. But I think to me, when you listen more, you get so much more information, more knowledge. That helps you make your decision process a lot clearer, a lot more concise. And it gives you so much more insights to play with, right? Allows you to be more exposed, lets you see other sides. To me, that's something that's just really valuable.
At my position of managing people, my best advice was when I first got promoted by my director. He said, you got 6 months to define who you are, to set your rules within your team. Because during the first 6 months, with your first impression on how you set the rule with your teams, that's going to be perceived forever. So use this 6 months to just, set the rules, communicate your goal, and just tell your team what can be done, what cannot be done.
Okay, well, actually, I received this advice like recently. It's to say that being a manager is like being a duck. So, a duck, right? So, you don't need to know everything, but you need to be able to be upfront when there's issues, be able to lead the team, and be able to guide them. So, that is how the duck works.
Why a duck?
Yeah, because the duck cannot really fly high like a bird, and the duck cannot swim as well as a fish, but it can fight flying and also like small like they're swimming. So then you don't need to know every single thing in detail. But you need to know in the wider range, and you need to be able to guide. So that's important.
Wow.
I think I would think about it as maybe best advice, or also the best way to really be successful here at Agoda. Agoda is a very interesting place. It's very big, but it feels very small. Everybody knows each other. People do hear about people who do good work, and if somebody does really well, they become very, very visible very quickly. So I would say my advice is, because of everything that we are at Agoda, if you take ownership and you really, really lean into it, really think about this as your own company, think about everything that you do as value creating for the company and for the business, then you can actually really be successful here. The best people that I've seen do really well are the people who forget about ego, they forget about the borders of their work, and they're just curious and they just say, hey, I don't understand. Why is it working this way? Why isn't it working this way? How do we actually think we can grow the business? And they come up with different ideas, and then they say, hey, let me try this. Let me make sure that I implement this on the ground, and let me make sure that it goes through successfully. And those people are the people who do very well, and they become very, very visible, and they have a really bright future ahead of them here at Agoda.
Like Glenn, what would you say is like a top skill to be a leader in general, or in Agoda?
I would say there's actually two. To me, the first one is empathy. Why? Because you need to understand the people that you work with. You need to really be able to feel what they're talking about. You can take that learnings into your everyday. And then the second one is data-driven decisions. So not just by feeling, but then correlate that, compare that to the actual data that you have on hand to make proper informed decisions. That to me would be the essence or the epitome of a good leader here at Agoda.
I think you need to lead from the front. Sometimes when it's tough times, you gotta really go out there and show your people, show your team how to do it.
I would say the initiative, because you need to think out of the box, come up with new things along the way, see how the market growing, or see how the hotel partners are having an request, or how you can drive new things to make the good business impact to what hotels at Agoda.
So the very first thing which I feel is most important, which a lot of us tend to forget, is compassion, because you work with people and you work with a team. So it's not just about, if I'm a leader, it's not just about what I need or what the team or what the setup needs of the team. It's also about figuring out who is the right person for what, and then looking into the scenario and ensuring that he or she is in the right position to do whatever is required. So compassion is extremely important.
Okay, I think pretty much adaptability. Like you need to be able to adapt to your team as well. Not like, oh, this is my rules, I'm gonna do it this way. You cannot do that pretty much. You need to be able to be more flexible to your team.
So I think definitely ownership, I mentioned before. Ownership and actually the ability to make sure that you get things done. The other things I would suggest is probably innovation, kind of think outside the box a little bit. I personally feel that people also do really well when they understand the big picture of what we're trying to do. Like you think about the strategy, or if you're not in a position where you understand all the strategy of all the different parts, know your business and know it very well, and know how one thing that impacts your business, like one thing that happens could impact your business. So I think that's probably a second thing, or a skill that I think is good. And thirdly, this is a little harder for people to do, but speak your mind. If you do have an idea that you think is interesting and you're a little shy and you don't feel comfortable saying it to 30 people, maybe share it with your manager, or share it in a small setting, but share with people what your thoughts are, because we're here to learn. We're here to learn from each other. And I think that's also one of the really good parts about Agoda. We're surrounded by very smart people who come up with very interesting ideas and insight, and we're quite open to hearing feedback from people as well. So feel free to speak your mind about it.
And Glenn, how would you describe Agoda's culture in 3 words?
3 words. Ooh, that's really, really tough. I would say creative, data-driven, and ultimately it's fun.
Intelligent people, diverse, and move fast.
Fast, fun, flexible.
Dynamic, fast-moving, ownership.
Exciting, challenging people.
Multicultural, passionate, inspired.
never a dull day.
Oh, okay.
Well, take away the so
Yeah.
never dull day, I guess.
Yeah.
Probably how I would describe it. Very exciting, very fast paced, and I think it's a real challenge to your imagination and to innovation.
So obviously, I hope to be in your position one day.
Well, you don't hope. You can be.
Yeah. So
Just
do you-
follow whatever we said.
yeah. So do you have any advice for me, to become the person that I'm meant to become?
What do you want to become? What do you think you're meant to become?
Mr. Agoda.
A few things, right? Again, keep an open mind, right? Listen to other people, get insight, connect with others, right? So oftentimes for us especially, I feel like we tend to work in silos a little bit, right? Like supply works in one team, product, marketing, pricing. So I think it's all about connecting, learning from other stakeholders, getting that knowledge, bringing that back to what we do as market managers, and that's gonna give you some insight, some knowledge to really take yourself to the next level.
So on your goal, do what you say that you will do, and always be organized. I think that's a key for me.
Be outspoken. You make a lot of partners. You have many insights. So share your ideas, share your opinions to like your colleague, your manager on your team to improve things and focus on driving the good business impact to both hotels and Agoda. I think that's the key for everyone to be successful. Having strong ownership, drive it from your real insight. So I think that would help you successfully.
First thing is to continuously learn. I don't think anybody stops learning at any point. Even if let's say that the most knowledgeable person we can think of, why he or she remains knowledgeable is because he or she is constantly learning. So I think that's the first thing, constantly learn. Even if you feel like you're the best analyst out there, I'm sure there's more to learn there. And the second thing I would say is stay humble. It doesn't matter how important or how much you have progressed. What matters is what you're contributing to and how valuable you are. It also matters how people perceive you, because if you're a people leader, you are around people, and it matters what people perceive you. So staying humble and modest is important. I would say these two.
I think one advice I would say is perhaps there's perseverance and also be open to the fact that there's a lot of change. So when I first came to Agoda, one of the things that was hardest for me was the fact that things changed a lot. And all honesty, in all my years here in Agoda, the only constant is change. We do things a lot, we pivot a lot. Why? Because the industry demands it, the market demands it. We have competitors who move faster than us. We have consumers who change patterns, Everything changes. So it's not easy, but the ability to be very agile, to be very nimble, to be very flexible and open to the fact that, hey, maybe all this work that you did for the last 3 months, now you have to park it because something else happened that's more important. It's not easy to deal with that level of uncertainty, but I think people who do well in leadership are the people who can navigate that. Because as leaders, in all honesty, people might think, what I do might be very straightforward, you do this, you do that. The reality is, a lot of the job of a leader is to look into the gray and find a pathway and shine a light on that pathway and help your team move through that. So that's my advice. I think as you go up into leadership, have a big picture view of what exactly you want to do and try to help navigate these parts that are not very clear, not very nebulous. And the job is to create a pathway for the people.
Now it's curveball question time.
Oh man, is this like the, what do you call that, rapid fire questions?
Yeah, rapid fire, but just
All
one
right.
question.
One question, okay, let's do it.
So Glenn, you were a bartender.
Yeah.
So if you could make a special cocktail that would describe who you are as a person, like a
Perfect cocktail.
Yeah, the Glenn cocktail.
Yeah.
What would it be and why?
It's actually my favorite drink, which is the Manhattan. So a Manhattan, for those of you who know, consists of rye whiskey, consists of Angostura bitters, and consists of sweet vermouth. The reason why I would say myself or relate myself to a Manhattan cocktail is because the rye whiskey is punchy, it's strong, it's spicy, and that's something I kind of relate myself to, right? You gotta be feisty sometimes, right? You have to be bringing that sort of energy, that punch every single day to your role. But at the same time, it's smooth, right? It's composed, it's balanced, right? And of course, it tastes good, right? So I think that's something that I would like to relate myself to. And I think that's kind of what we all should aspire to be, the Manhattan cocktail.
Be a Manhattan cocktail.
There you go.
Jay, if you were a Thai dish, like ahan Thai,
Okay.
what Thai dish would you be and why?
Oh, there's so many Thai dishes that I like, but the first that come to my mind is probably somtam pupala. It doesn't reflect my personality or anything, but you know, I just really like it because it has a lot of flavor and especially it's quite salty as well. That's the flavor that I like.
I see. So what Jay's trying to say is you're someone who's very, you know, you have a lot of different flavors. You have a lot to offer. Is that right?
Yeah, spicy as well.
Yeah, she is spicy. That's for sure. Yeah. Kunchada, if you were a kitchen utensil,
Okay.
what would you be and why?
Oh my god, I would be a spoon because I think a spoon can pick up my team or pick up pieces, you know, scoop it up and just put it or shove it wherever you want to be.
Oh, wow, I swear we didn't practice this question. That was good. So Pico, say in this world, right, there's nothing to worry about. What would be that dream job of yours?
I maybe want to be a doctor. Why? Because I just like facing some challenge with like some health problem for my family members, and even in some countries the medical is not like equal for everyone, right? And being a doctor, you may be able to help more people, and you also have like a good like knowledge to also build your community better. So I think maybe a doctor.
All right, so Mahesh, you know, you've been in the startup world for a long time. You know, you've tried everything. So let me ask you, what is that company or something that you would start if there was no like nothing to do, like you didn't have to care about money or anything, no restrictions? What would you do?
Sure. This is right on top of my head, so I don't need to think much. So I would give myself two options. It depends at that point what I feel like. One, it would be related to football, or let me say, because international world it could be named soccer as well. So I'm into football a lot. So it could be related to how to get the game better in terms of how more people watch it, how it becomes football more enterprising. Not that it needs a lot, but because it's my passion. Two would be with respect to music. So it would definitely be with respect to any of these two. It should be music or football. And thirdly, which I don't think is possible, but I really want to, is maybe start an entire setup in Mars. Now that's out of the world, out of the box. Thinking it's not what I say. I think it's something that I want to do. Because we're all talking about what this world looks like, but there's something outside as well. So maybe something in Mars is something that I would like.
So Mandarin, if there was no like financial constraint, no constraints in the world, like what would you want to do?
Being animal volunteer.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah, because that's my dream goals. Like if I don't like have to work, I would go to Africa and volunteer to save like rhino, saving cheetahs. So those are actually my goals. I still want to do it, but now you have to go there. It's expensive. So I need to work to actually get there.
For those of you who don't know, Liana is actually Malaysian as well. So Liana, if you were a Malaysian dish, right? We're very proud of our Malaysian food. So if you were a Malaysian dish, what Malaysian dish would you be and why?
Okay, I would be maybe roti jala. Why roti jala? Looks complicated, actually pretty easygoing. Pretty simple. You dip it in curry, so a little bit spicy. Definitely enjoyable, and it's something you can have throughout the day. So that sounded wrong. Perhaps it's more like, you know, you can enjoy my company throughout the day. So
okay.
Roti jala.
Alright, that's the end of the video. Hope you like it. If you did, make sure you leave a like, make sure you subscribe, and if you have any questions about Agoda, or you want to sort of connect with anyone you see, feel free to drop me a message. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.